How did you personally start out in business? What was your sort of starting story?
Well, it feels like a long time ago now, but my first and only job was with a company called Arthur Andersen, who I joined on graduating from university. So worked with them, got some great international experience for about 5 years, but then left when I was 27 in the year 2000, hugely influenced actually by the dot-com boom that was going on at the time, to start my first business, which was a dot-com company called Techlocate.com. Which I started from my spare room in, at the time, a Manchester apartment. And Techlocate was a company that helped inward investors move into the UK. And what we did was essentially put the inward investment process online. So it was a great kind of learning experience to start that business. But then we were approached 15 months in by a company which still exists actually, called RSM Tenon, who wanted to buy us. So within 2 years, we'd sold the company in what they call kind of a quick flip. So we kind of started, grown, and then sold the business within 2 years. Then I started Enterprise Nation, and still running the business now.
Brilliant. Well, listen, tell us a little bit about that, because, that's all about helping other people do exactly what you did and start out in business, isn't it?
It is. And actually, funnily enough, when Enterprise Nation started, it was very much created as the home business website. So it was for people who had done what I did. So when I started Techlocate, I mentioned it was from a spare room. When we sold the business, we were 5 people still working from home offices in London and Manchester. And I always remember an amusing moment when the finance director of the company that wanted to acquire us came to do due diligence on us to make sure that we were worth what they were offering to pay. And we took this kind of serviced office meeting room and put family pictures in it to kind of say this is where we work from, and trying to pretend that we were kind of working from out of home offices. And of course, one of the things he said as he left is, one of the reasons that we want to acquire you is you've kept your overheads low and based the business from home. So still massive benefits in having a home-based business. So when Enterprise Nation launched, it was to encourage more people and help more people start and grow a business from home. So our first book, which came out in 2008, was called Spare Room Startup: How to Start a Business from Home. But since then, because we've been going for quite a while now, we've had companies who are members of Enterprise Nation who have gone and outgrown the home. So we are now a small business community, helping anyone start and grow a small business. And we do that in a number of ways, which maybe we'll have a chat about.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, I just want to, before we move on to that, I want to get your opinion on the Kickstarter culture, because this is a real phenomenon that's grown over the last year or so online, and we're seeing some fantastic results. What do you think about that? I mean, if somebody's thinking, I need just a little bit of seed funding, is this a good option for UK startups now?
Oh, I think it's a fantastic option. And in fact, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. We've never seen so much innovation in the financial services sector, and I think there's lots more of it to come. So sadly, the banks are not responding to what small businesses need, which I think is a great shame, and therefore it's opened up the market for sites like Kickstarter. Also in the UK, we've got Crowdcube, Seeders.com, Funding Circle, which is for bigger businesses. Wonga have launched Wonga for Business, which kind of gives you short-term credit if you need it as a business. And I think we will see more of this. The government, of course, have launched Startup Loans, which is £2,500 for any young person who wants to start a business. And I think we'll continue to see more crowdfunding activity, but also some kind of seed funding to help businesses get going, because the critical thing in the UK at the moment, which is brilliant to behold, is there are record numbers of people starting a business. One of the reasons why there's so many people starting is because it's never been so cheap to start a business. So you don't need that much to get going. And this is where we're seeing the innovation come in. So large corporates, government, and the crowd saying we will extend those small amounts of funding to help people get started.
What do you think is the key attribute for new businesses today to flourish in this tough financial climate?
I think there's a couple of things. I get to see, hear, speak with small businesses every day, and of course in our monthly Startup Saturday workshops. And I think there's 3 key attributes that I'm seeing the best small businesses, each of them, have at the moment. One is to have a niche idea, so to have your product or service cater to a niche audience. And because if you have that, what you're doing is you're keeping your marketing costs low, because what you produce is niche, or you're promoting it to a niche audience, so you know where that audience is. You can quickly become an expert in your field, and you build up customer loyalty because hopefully what you produce, you're the only person that produces it. So finding something that caters to a niche market is a good way to go. The second thing I think is to keep overheads low. So start and grow the business from home. Necessarily don't give up the day job. So we'll maybe talk about working 5 to 9, but keep the day job and build the business at night and weekends. And around that also, in terms of keeping overheads low, the third thing I think is to embrace technology. So make the most of free or low-cost social media, powerful trading websites. So it's those three things: cater to a niche audience, keep your overheads low, and embrace technology to both look for partners but also promote your products and services.
You mentioned, 5 to 9ers, which of course is a turnaround on the Dolly Parton song we all know so well, working 9 to 5. What do you mean by that? Because you've written a book on the subject as well, haven't you?
Yeah, Working 5 to 9 came out in 2010, and we've seen this continue to increase actually. So 2 years on, and there are more 5 to 9ers than ever before. So what this is all about is, through Enterprise Nation, I was seeing a lot of people being profiled on the site, get in touch with us, and they were holding down a day job and building a business at night and weekends. So I thought, this is just fascinating. And it's a great way to start a business because you keep your risks low, you give yourself time to build the confidence and cash flow you need in the business, and you're kind of building up skills all the time. So Working 5 to 9 was written to help other people start a business in their spare time. It's got profiles of 60 people who are doing just that, and extraordinary stories of one of the ladies profiled in the book is called Gwen Howell, who's an estate agent by day, and at night she's a rare breed pig farmer. There's another guy who by day is an RAF jet train pilot, and then at night he runs a business selling big shoelaces online. So one of the great things, of course, for Working 5 to 9 is the web has enabled people to run a business in their spare time and build profits very quickly, actually. So Working 5 to 9, I think, is a trend we'll continue to see accelerate in the UK.
Well, let's just, before we sort of go on to your new book, I just really want to jump back quickly to Enterprise Nation. So people are sort of, listening to this thinking, oh, wow, this is something that perhaps could help me. What's the best way to use Enterprise Nation? What's the experience when you go on the website? Do you sign up? Is there a forum? What's the deal?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a little bit of all of that, actually. So Enterprise Nation is quite clear. We've got 3 clear divisions in the business. So online, publishing and events. So community members can get involved in any one of those ways. So they can come onto the website, enterprisenation.com. There's daily blog posts which give interviews, useful tips, features that you need when starting or growing a business. There are friendly forums, so you can pose your questions. We have experts who carry out Q&As on everything from insurance to how to use Twitter. So there's the online activity. The publishing division is through which we publish books, ebooks and kits. So you can see in our shop we've got quite a large catalogue of print books and ebooks, again on all topics. We're launching a new book this week with Prima magazine, which is very much about how to turn a hobby into a business. And then our events division is where you can sign up to workshops, which is either the Startup Saturday workshop, workshops around going global, so specifically focused on international trade, or national conferences that we run, which kind of cover an awful lot over a couple of days. So there's any one of those ways in which you can get involved with Enterprise Nation, and it's a very strong, vibrant community. Also, of course, on social media. So every day on Twitter, we have something called Water Cooler Moment, which is held from 11 a.m. until midday, and it's very much for kind of the home-based business owner who wants a little bit of social kind of interaction, but still enjoys the benefit of working from home. So lots of ways in which to get involved.
It is really important, that, isn't it? Because I've been working at home for the last 6-7 years now, and people say to me, oh, don't you get lonely? But actually, the internet has become my water cooler moment.
It's interesting because when Spare Room Startup came out, so as I say, this was back in 2008. So when the book came out, we had lots of questions around what are the downsides of starting and growing a business from home. And I'm kind of the worst person to pose that question to, because I don't see any downsides. You're keeping your costs low. You can run a business around the family. You've got no commute. But one of the things I used to say is that we did hear a lot from our community that maybe there was a bit of social isolation, that it's you and your four walls of your home office. But as you say, this was pre-Twitter. So when I wrote Spare Room Startup, there was not a single mention in that book of Twitter because it didn't exist. So I think now things like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn are bringing that social feel into the home office. So even that slight downside is now gone.
With the book you're writing now, we're actually on a parallel book writing experience, I believe, due out early next year, the same as this one. And it's all about how to grow your business without outgrowing your home space. What sort of, can you give us any sort of teaser as to what we might find in that book?
Absolutely. In fact, if I give you a teaser, it might give me the motivation to get it written so it's published on time. But yeah, you can see there's a recurring theme around the fact I think it's great if businesses are not only started from home, but what we're now seeing kind of 6 years into Enterprise Nation, what I've seen from the community is how powerfully businesses are being grown from home. So what the book will look at is ways in which you can do that. For instance, how do you productize? How do you take your product, whether it's making goods or services, and outsource some of the production so that you focus on what you do best and outsource the rest to other experts? How do you go global at pace? So how do you run a kind of a mini multinational company from your spare room by using websites such as Alibaba.com, by using Regus where they have serviced offices so you don't need to get one. So what the book will look at is it will take you through 5 ways in which you can grow your turnover and grow your profitability without having to grow your employee headcount and without having to take on huge costs. So yes, out hopefully in January 2013.
Brilliant. We'll look forward to that. Okay, last couple of questions then. These are a little bit more general. What would you say is the most important thing for a small business to understand or realise about the internet today?
I think the thing to understand about the internet in its purest and most simple sense is just how powerful it is to any small business owner. I was amazed the other day. I saw a figure saying 40% of small businesses still are not online or don't have a website, which I tweeted this out and said, I actually cannot believe this. But the power of the internet is in how it enables you to source supplies, find partners, and critically promote and sell your goods both at a local level, but of course also to a global market. So when you think there are 1.2 billion people who are now online all over the world, if you have an internet connection, a good website, a good idea, good delivery, you literally can get your products and services to that kind of sized market. So I think what every small business owner should do, embrace the web, make the most of these cloud applications and tools that are coming out. So of course you've got the benefit then of working from anywhere, and really kind of make the most of what is a phenomenal potential at low cost to get your products and services to a worldwide audience.
It really levels the playing field a bit, doesn't it, with the big multinationals as well?
It really does. And of course, I think the big multinationals have a challenge on their hands at the moment, because where the innovation and entrepreneurship is coming from is from small businesses. And this is why I think it's been fascinating to see, even in the past 6 months, large corporates now are starting lots of small business programs. So Telefonica, for instance, have launched something called Wira, which is an accelerator project. Just yesterday, I tweeted out that Cisco are about to invest in digital startups. Mighty, which is a big outsourcing company, launched something called Mighty Millions, where they're investing £5 million in startups. So I think what a lot of the big corporates are recognising, as indeed is government, is that the entrepreneurship, the innovation, the growth in the economy is coming from these dynamic small businesses. And so if the internet is there, why not use it?
Brilliant. Okay, final question then. If you could go back in time and tell yourself one thing when you were just starting out that you know now, what would it be?
Oh my goodness. Do you know, I think it would be around strengths and weaknesses of you as an individual. So I think what it's taken me a very long time to discover is I'm terrible at managing people and teams. So I guess one thing that would have accelerated maybe the growth of the business is to find an expert to have done that quicker than I have. So maybe kind of know your strengths and weaknesses if you can very quickly.
Brilliant. Emma, thank you so much. Good luck with writing the book.
Thank you very much, Kate.
We'll compare notes early next year.
And best wishes with yours.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Talk soon.